Hello, fellow Mythrunians. Welcome to another weekly live stream. We're continuing kind of where we left off. I mean, I've been pouring work into this the last week, but yeah, so let me go ahead and show the scene and thank the patrons and so on. Yep, they're helping me keep the lights on, especially since I'm paying for the Hetzner server. And oh yeah, I still haven't fixed the lighting issue, eh? I'm still in the dark here. Yeah, so we got the simulation running. I've been tweaking it here and there. A lot of it looks similar to last time, but I've added, like, I can go in and I can debug the specific schedules of a particular NPC. The NPCs are also more stable between runs. That sort of thing. Let me go ahead and minimize this. It's going to get distracting. Yeah, so I got that going for me. Actually, I want to check one thing. I want to see if it's going to make a sound. It did not make a sound. Let me check on that real quick. Of course, now my nose is itching too. Oh yeah, it's not getting it. Well, I got that. Okay, maybe it is sort of working. I don't know. I guess we shall see. Anyway, I don't know who's on anyway. So, it says nobody, but that doesn't mean that's true. All right, so I've been trying to clean up all this stuff, and actually one big thing that's changed. One reason I added this debug thing is because when the days kick over. Yeah, now my nose is running too. When the days kick over, it generates their different schedule slightly. So like the people who have like random lunch spots that they'll go to, or random chores, it'll regenerate those every day. So once it clicks over. So one of the ways to see that is to set up lunchtime. So here, like, everyone's heading to lunch, I think. Let's see, AI status. Yeah, they're all walking to lunch. So now they're at lunch at different places. And if we step forward a day, we see things change pretty chaotically. So, boink, yeah, so everybody's moving around to different places. Because every day they go to lunch at different places. So I got that working. 1 second, I'm going to turn away and, like, deal with my nose for a second. Yeah, rubbing it against the microphone too. That was awesome. Anyway, so, and I've just been basically, so there's like two ways to refactor something, right? There's one way you tear it all down and you put it back together with a new design. One way I kind of prefer to do things when I'm not sure what the new design should be is to just go through and sort of start removing the things I don't like, you know, consolidating things that don't really affect the functionality. And then, you know, sometimes that teaches me what I need to know. And one of the big things that I didn't like was that I couldn't convert a lot of this stuff to Java because it was relying on Groovy isms to set the position of the NPCs and things because I had to like thread the entity system all through everything to get it to work, and so I've like abstracted out this sort of managed agent thing that's got the warp and the goal. So this is what's given to the actions is a managed agent, and then when they're in high mode, when the schedule actions are in high mode, they'll just update the goal and let the AI deal with it. And when they're in low mode, they'll basically warp the NPC directly. And then, and so then replacing all of the weird mob actors and other things was what I did. And then simplified a lot of the schedule creation because now, in fact, all of this can go away too now that I think about it. this stuff isn't used anymore. Yeah, so that's not used, which means these aren't. So this is one of the things I do, right? I see where are these things used. They're not, so I just get rid of them. And then is this only? Yep. So these are all, because I've redefined how the jobs are allocated, and I'll show you that in a second. So this was sort of the old way where I was essentially building this stuff based on like how many buildings I had and stuff. I was doing it, I was programming them directly. So I should have not changed anything, right? If I run it again and activate the town, it should everybody should still be doing the same thing they always were. So it didn't actually affect anything, so that means I can delete this. And usually I do that as 2 different commits, but today I've been committing a lot, so I have lots of checkpoints, and I meant to clean that out before. Because now the way the schedules are created is when we're, so this upper part here where we're building the town is something that would normally just be loaded from storage or something, or be generated as part of the town instead of us having to calculate it every time. But there's sort of these job templates that get defined, and they define some or part of an NPC's day. So like if you're a craftsman, you know, this is your basic day work schedule. So starting in the morning, you get your materials, you go to work, you go to lunch, you go to work again. If you're a clerk, you know, you go to the clerk, you go to work, so on and so forth. And then yeah, and then what work means and what clerk means as far as locations go, that's defined per NPC. And so these are kind of just defining the job templates. So they would be done a different way in the real game. And then down here where we're building the town, where I load the town information and I find all the buildings and I decide based on, you know, some arbitrary things just to make the town interesting what each of the different building types means, which is something again would be done as part of world generation. I'm just kind of cribbing it now. And so it finds all those things. Then down here it goes through, where is it? Down here. It goes through each of the different building types, like goes through all the workshops, and it creates actual job objects, settlement job objects, and it tells, you know, this job where its work is and where it gets its materials. And same for the warehouses for the clerks, you know, it tells them this is the clerk job, this for this particular building, and so on and so forth. So we set up the town gets a list of jobs, open jobs. And then when we actually go to initialize the town, if it doesn't have any people in it, I'll show you. We go through and so if it doesn't have any people in it, we create like a person for every house. And then from those people, we look at the available people and the available jobs, and we go through each of the jobs and we assign somebody a job. And that then affects their schedule. And because there is no specific job for being just a homeowner, essentially any mob, any NPC that's left gets assigned that home job, which just gives them chores during the day. So they're always busy doing something. And then they additionally have like a more flexible lunch and dinner selection. They can eat at different places and stuff. They're not tied to somewhere near their work or whatever. And so essentially, yeah, so those the regular person template basically says they sleep for as long as they need to so that they can get to their job. And then there's this placeholder / job, which eventually could be even split into different parts of the day or have criteria associated with it. But right now we basically just come through here, and when we assign the job, we replace that with whatever the job schedule was. And so that makes the schedule for everybody. And then with each new day, the random parts as far as where they do their chores or where they go to lunch or dinner or whatever, that's newly picked. So they're set up so that they tend to pick places closer to their work, or they tend to pick dinner places closer to the line between where they work and where they live, but it's still random, and they may pick somewhere different every day. So that's the way that's set up. So what I'm doing now is I'm trying to better define, now that I've got this object that lets me move them around in a sort of this managed agent where I can call this in the actions, I need to start dealing with this goal, with this goal idea where when they're in high, like when they're visible by a player, when they're in this green zone, then it would call this, instead of calling warp, it would call this update goal, and then it's up to the brain to do it. And so I'm just about to this point of wiring that up. I keep hitting control instead of shift. And I've kind of just put these placeholder goals and goal status in. This is also going to need an end time. So again, like I've just been going through a little bit at a time, and so there's some things I still need to clean out probably, but worry about that later. So right now, the settlement, when it initializes itself, it'll go through all of its people, and it will ask for one of those agents, which is actually what's responsible for like moving it around and setting its goals and things. And right now it's just creating one each time essentially, but we need to create one that's managed by the settlement system, because when the agent is not managed by a real brain, we need to talk to it directly, and when it is managed by a brain, we need to send that to the brain instead. I don't know how to explain that better. This is not the right doc, and good lord, it takes so long to load everything. One thing that's happened because this UI code is tied directly into these data structures, that means I had to move the UI code so that it gets reloaded every time we reload the simulation, and that creates like this huge memory burden because we're recompiling a lot of classes. And so yeah, so we're up to 2 gig now, but if I reload a few times, we'll be up to 5 gig, and we'll have to kill this and restart it. It just gets big, and so then that makes everybody else have to swap in. But what I need to do here is define, so there needs to be an agent proxy, and it would have the regular agent, the passive agent, and then the active agent, right? And so the actions don't need to care. The actions don't need to care which of these is currently relevant. They just call the agent proxy, with whatever, and then it will delegate appropriately. And that's what I was about to set up. Yeah, that's fine. I don't care. Okay. So then in here we need kind of like we need a managed agent proxy product class. Managed agent proxy implements managed agent. And I've tried to leave this name really generic. I didn't want to call them mobs necessarily. I didn't want to call them NPCs, because it could work for vehicles or any automated thing like the airships and things, or different things could be managed technically as agents. Sorry, agents. I look over here because that's where I see myself. But all right, so managed agent has. I'm trying to find the interface now. There it is. Okay. Okay, so then we'll either have a managed agent passive or an active one. And yeah, we don't have access to. So I don't have real agents right now. Well, we'll be able to get partway there. We'll be able to get partway there. I may have to turn managed agent into a real Java interface so that I can use it over in where I'm setting up the fake systems. We have a. Where did it go? I've got too many things. So they got this agent system, which is setting up like a fake agent system that has these fake agent drivers, but I can't directly access these classes. And this normally would implement the managed agent, but it can't because these are classes defined at runtime. And so I think I will move that interface out. It would make things a lot easier. Okay, well, we'll worry about that in a minute. I can do a lot here. Okay, so because we can get this hooked up and have the agents call the actions call the right thing and log it. It's really annoying having to do this even for the subclasses. So if active not equal to null, active.update goal, and we want to have like a, so we want to keep track of our current goal. And so then when we call this, we can potentially update its goal if we want to right away. Though at this point we're going to be calling this every frame. It's not important. And so similarly here, and we return. Oh, no, we have to return that. There we go. Okay, and then similarly here, if we have an active one, we'll call that, and it will just do nothing. Otherwise, we'll call the passive one. And same here. I think this will compile. So it did, and everybody should everybody should still work. Yep, everybody's doing chores or walking to lunch. Yeah. Oh no, that's the schedule. So there, this is the current status. Okay, cool. And then it temporarily, we're going to have a temp fake agent. Let's managed agent, and this will be for pretending to be our high agent. And so we'll just have a logger here too. This will prove that it's working without having to do any other wiring. because we got a bunch of stuff to do to make that happen. So let's just crib these for a second. And blog info update goal. And warp. I probably would get a lot of warp, so we're just going to ignore warp. Okay. I didn't mean to hit Control S. I'm so used to hitting Control S after every little change, but it really gets expensive. Alright, and so then here we need a guava cache, and I always forget how to do that, even though I make them all the time. So I usually just steal this code. Just like this. Just like this. Okay. So we'll have a loading cache, entity ID, managed agent. Actually, this will be our managed agent proxy. Oops. Hold on. It's dusty in here. Agent cache equals cache builder, new builder. I wonder if it's gonna let me do this. Oh yeah, because I can do this, and then I can in here say new cache loader. I think it will let me do this. Groovy has some restrictions on what you can and can't do inside of Groovy instead of Java. Like some Java isms don't work. So we would call it return create managed agent proxy for the key. Oops. Yeah, okay. I need the load part. Managed agent proxy load entity ID key. Okay, and then we need to create that method. Okay, and I want weak keys. That's the part that I think I'm gonna have to weak keys. No, weak values, right? Weak values. Yeah, no max size and weak values. So the Guava cache can be used for a couple different things. Classically, it's a pretty good cache. You can set the max size, you can set expiration policies, and so on and so forth. But it has the added advantage that if you try to access the same object for multiple threads, you're going to get one instance. So no matter if like 50 different threads ask for the same entity ID, they're going to get one instance of the managed agent proxy, no matter what order they called it in. The cache builder is going to straighten it out. So that's one way to have singletons that are thread safe in that way that you can look up a key and it'll create it on the fly for you. And then with weak values, whenever everybody's stopped using it, it'll get garbage collected until somebody needs it again. But it'll only ever be one in memory at a time, no matter how many threads are using it, which can be a pretty convenient construct for lots of different use cases. And Mythruna uses that all over the place. It's like while it's resident, we only want one of them, but as soon as everyone's done with it, go ahead and garbage collect it, which is super convenient. Like I use that for when we're loading bits of terrain and stuff. I want to make sure every potential editor is editing the actual same array with the ability to synchronize on it and stuff like that. And Guava Cache is really convenient for that. I should verify. Oh, I need to create this method first. Protected. What did I call it? Managed agent proxy. Create managed agent proxy entity ID. Entity ID. And then what we will do is passive equals passive. I'm trying to make this as close to Java code as I can. And so then we want to return new managed agent proxy agent factory apply. So that'll create the standard passive agent. Let's see if this blows up. Load up, sir. Oh yeah, unable to resolve. Okay, well it doesn't know what the class is. Is it a different package? It is. We'll just stick it up here. Let's try again. And every time we do this, it's recompiling those UI classes. Okay, well we got further along. Let's see if we can activate. See if we can add a player. Boink, 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 boink. Alright. All that's working. Okay, so then let's go back to where we were. And so instead of this, we want to return agent cache.get unchecked. I'm pretty sure that's the Yep, and everything should still continue to work. Yep, everybody's walking back from lunch. Well, not everybody. Some people are still at lunch. Bland Fearcliff is still at. Oh, now he's walking to work too. Atlia Saltval is at lunch. Picking some stuff out of the garden. Alright, fresh vegetables for lunch. Okay, so now when we activate and deactivate a particular agent, like with this, yeah, so we have agent high, agent low. This is where we could look up the driver. Yeah, the real agent driver. Right now we have this temp fake agent, and I think that I want to yeah, this is all bull too. I gotta get rid of that stuff. So we want to be able to call this set active agent thing. And so for now, I think I'm just going to private temp fake agent, and then just set this fake agent as new temp fake agent. Hooking that up to the real one is going to be a little trickier. And then when we do this, we want to call the cache But we're going to want to keep track of the real one then too. So this one will say this agent equals, and we shall cache agent cache get unchecked entity dot get ID, and then agent dot set. Oh, we only want to do this on if the level is high. If level equals agent type level high, then agent dot set active agent fake agent, else set it back to null again. And so we may not need to do this anymore, except for this is weird. Like, I'm dealing with the level in multiple places, and that seems wrong. But I will leave it for the moment. And so this should set the goals, and then here, if I have to go, if set active agent, yeah, so that's fine. Let's see if that compiles. Shouldn't do anything different. Got a lot of views, but only one concurrent viewer. This is awesome. Well, I was going to be working on this anyway. I just wasn't going to be talking while I did it. Okay, so that worked okay. Yeah, see, it's really starting to get slow. And so if we come over here, we can see, yeah, we're up to like 4 gig active, 5 peak. So we may get one more reload out of this before I have to kill it and start over. So now I can start dealing with this is an interesting problem. We actually don't know when the end time is. When we call the agent. Okay. Let's come up here and think about this for a second. So it calls run action tween level, but it doesn't know. I think would we want the action to do this, or do we want to make it the responsibility of the thing calling the action? Because like I said, like the action technically doesn't even need to know what its level is otherwise. I guess it's going to know anyway because it's got to know the difference between low and passive. Except for those are tied together right now. I don't think we do anything special with the levels here. This just does it. Yeah, this one doesn't pay attention to level. This one, yeah, if it's not passive, oh, so it runs the same for low and high. But right now it's essentially, it's the wander, so it does do different things depending on the, to its detriment, in fact. And then move also doesn't care about... Yeah, so maybe with the passive we just... Or with high we don't call it at all. Except for we would not know the sequence when doing subsequences. Okay. So let me think about this. Yeah, so this just tells the schedule to run, and then the active schedule, its update, it knows the level. Yeah, see, this is the thing, it knows when the sched changes too. I'm just trying to figure out where we create the goal. I don't want to create a new goal every update when it's in high mode. I just want to keep reusing the same goal. And I added the end time to the goal. And the thing about that is, well, wherever I defined goal, the actions don't know anything about time at all. So that's not the right place to do that. This would be like this would know. And so we could set the current goal here. And then we could call a different method on the actions if they needed to do something special. Maybe that is the way to go. Call update goal with the current time or something. I'm just trying to so there's like, you try to leave options open for yourself in the future, and so I'm thinking about all the different ways I might want to use this. And sometimes you get stuck that way, and it's better to just make something and then refactor it later. But this is kind of like the weeds we're in at the moment. So when they switch scheds, we know that. We could create a goal, because I don't really want to create a goal every time. I don't know the end time down inside the goals, inside the actions. And really, the path finding is really rough. And so even in a sequence, it's possibly just the sequence that I'm interested in. What I'm talking about here is, if we look at a particular NPC schedule, like his walk to chores, for example, is just a sequence. It's a bunch of walk actions. And so do I want to tell, when he's being seen by the player, do I want to tell the brain, hey, you're just supposed to walk to a particular location, figure it out? Or do I want to still be stepping him through all of his little sequences so that he knows the whole path? Because the sequence doesn't know the path either. So it could be that I create a specific walk path action. And so then the goal could be the path. But still, the actions don't know their time. And it seems like the AI would definitely want to know, I'm supposed to do this by a certain time. I mean, it could be that I should have been providing this stuff to the actions the whole time, except they're just so simple when they've just take a tween value and let the external thing calculate that. Good times. So let me think about this. So see, it's like it's just so simple when it's just got the tween. It doesn't know about what time it's supposed to finish, what time it's supposed to start. It just says, be here at this, be halfway between where you're supposed to be. So it could be that the goal is part of the scheduled action. I kind of like that idea. Not the scheduled action, but the schedule, the sked. This guy, oh, frick. This guy. So we could have what the overarching goal is as well. And I think sked action has a location. Base action, it doesn't take a location object, but it could and probably should. Okay. So let's have the sked take a goal. And so for right now, we can just say new goal. Did I make a constructor for goal? Nope. Oh, that's okay. So we can say, oh shoot, name, location, end time. Okay, so name, and location was, yeah, an actual location, which we'll leave blank for now. End time, end. Alright, so now the sked knows why don't you have an end time? Are you used? Let me see if anything is using the name and action version. Yep, right there. Oh yeah, that's the most used version, in fact. The others are the ones that are not used. Well, in that case, I will get rid of them. Like, I should be able to do this and everything should still work. Because those aren't even used. And we've still got everybody where they're supposed to be. Oh, people are about to get up and start moving. Yep. So advance an hour and we see everybody start to wake up and walk around when the sun's coming up. Let's see where the sun is. Oh, yep, it's just coming up. Some of these people have really early mornings because it's only 6:30. Okay, so we don't need any of these. So let me see if we know the goal. We don't know the end time yet. That's the issue. And so we want to set the, well, we can do this though. Goal equals new goal, name, and we can worry about the rest later. So the sked will have a goal. When we change, change skeds, we can check the level, or we can just, this doesn't know, does it use the entity for anything important? Oh yeah, to identify itself. This is not something we need necessarily. I think where we create, so we can have the managed agent here. And then whenever we create a new sked, well, or whenever we update, yeah. So sked action, run action. See, it's just so tempting to want to put that in. But okay, let's just put it in right here for now. If, oh, sorry, agent date goal sked.goal. It's going to be a really verbose call. Yeah, I don't like that at all. And so we could build the agent level right into the managed agent. All right, anyway, so down here we set, have set active agent, we call set active agent when the thing is blah blah blah. All right, and then in here I just feel like we're gonna get a ton of these update goals. That was gonna happen anyway. Oh, we need to return something. All right, this is potentially going to, well, we're not, until we add a player, it's not going to do anything. Okay. We got a compile error anyway. Active schedule. Oh, yeah, I didn't do that. Because now they take a managed agent. So this needs mob agent. Yep. Yeah, see, as soon as I start passing these around everywhere, I know that I need to do things differently. Make sure there's not another one. That's it. But again, so I see these and I say, well, I can combine these, or I can do this, and then I chip away. And I just spend sometimes whole days just chipping away until like the code looks way different when I'm done. All right, so if we activate everybody, oh boy. Deactivate, deactivate. There's a update goal loop going on, 2269. Oh, passive, duh. Okay, so we're going to want to do this. And potentially while we're here, let's go ahead and move. Now, I was going to move this out to a real class since we had to stop anyway. But I already know I'm going to still want to tweak this method. It needs time information and stuff about the current time, I'm pretty sure. It's not enough to tell a brain go to this place unless, and by the way, are you successful or not, unless you know what your desired end time is. So I think that when we start to actually build the brain interface, we're going to want more information than just a raw goal. And we potentially don't want to be called as often, because it's gonna get icky to be called every frame for stuff that we can't really do anything about. So yeah, probably only when we change, and then the agent itself could decide how often it. I like that idea. So the agent itself could then decide how often it wants to, based on some other update that gets called. Anyway, activate. Let's see if that's going to work. Okay, everybody got activated. And now if we add a player, boink, boink. We don't have any green ones yet. Now we have green ones, and so we get update goal, update goal, update goal, update goal. Okay, so let's move him out of the way again so we stop getting those. And we don't have a toString. For now, let's do that. But see what I'm talking about. It doesn't pay to tell the brain every frame. Like if we bring this down, like this is not useful to the brains. Hey, by the way, every frame, go to sleep. We really only care if it changes, and then we probably want some periodic tick otherwise. And so back down here, I will change it so that it only sets the goal when the sched changes. So where did I update goal? I probably did it in the wrong place, didn't I? Oh no, it's right there. So only when it changes, and then only if it's, so that we'll say update goal. If the sched is null, then null, otherwise the sched goal. And that means I can also move this debug out, which would be nice. This is the only reason this class has an entity data, or an entity ID and an entity data, is so that it can call this method, and really it's poopy. Oh man, it's raining outside pretty hard. Alright, so let's activate, add a player, boink, boink, boink. Okay, so we got a bunch of, okay, so no goal changes, I guess, because there were that was already the schedule, maybe? Yeah, that's why. So that's a problem. But that's what I was saying before. When we become active, if current goal is not equal to null, active update goal, current goal. And so now, whenever the thing becomes active, so nothing's active yet, we activate the town. Okay, all the NPCs have stuff to do. They've got their schedules, they're all sleeping. And then if we add a player, and we move that player in, that's a problem. AI setup 2267. Active not equal to null, and Nope, we'll just always set the goal. That's fine. Activate, add a player, move that player over, which should then down and should activate some play. Okay, so here we go. Update goal, go sleep, sleep, sleep for these 3 NPCs right here that are, player can see them technically. They're in range. I mean, we need a periodic tick, 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 tick for those. So we can check the status. But we're getting there. And yeah, see, I need this end time. Trying to get rid of that. While I was here, I was trying to get rid of that debug text. Move that into the agent itself. But I need to be able to know the end time. Well, here we do know the end time. We know the current time and the end time. But we could pass in or since we're putting it in with the sched now, we could set the end time. Let me see where we create the schedule, because there's just a lot that's really loose still, because it's groovy code. It was I get away with a lot of sin as far as coding goes. I'm trying to find where we create the schedule. It'd be schedule template. This guy down here in the create schedule. So what we do is, oh yeah, I also beefed up the schedule resolution really well. So now it's bulletproof. It's in Java code now. It's got unit tests and stuff, so that's kind of nice. So here, where we set the start and the end, this is really where we should be setting the goal. Name. We could be setting the location here if we wanted to. But for now, we will set the end time. Let's just do this. Sched, oops. And then we will do, now, I think, name event dot, so event dot start and event dot end are going to be the same. And so let's say name, start time, end time. And let's find goal. Let's take you out. Where's, oh yeah. We don't have a constructor yet, but we're about to. Let's make a start time. Goal, name, world time, start time, world time, end time. This dot name equals name. Start time equals, typing too fast. Okay. So then we can say start time as time string and time as time string. What did I blow up? What's gonna blow up? Have you all had a good first week back after the new year? 1468. My schedule has been crazy. Oh yeah, so I did. Yeah, I screwed myself. I used a Groovyism and then didn't bother to make it that way. Okay. Alrighty. And so now we activate the town. Some people are working. We add a player. And we move him over so we get some goals. Update goal, walk to chores. From 8:53 to 10:53. Wow, that's a long walk. Who's walking to chores for 2 hours? Walk to chores. This guy. Oh, he's not walking to chores at all. Why is he doing chores at the... Oh boy. People are not where they're supposed to be. Oh yeah, like Hearn Rog is not really where he says he is. That's because he's in the high. Okay, let's he's not being updated because he's there he is. Right, we don't have anything updating them when they're in high mode. But yeah, so he has, yeah, his walk to chores was really long. And so now he's active again. So we had updated his goal, people moving in. Their goals are getting updated. This is all good. I'm not 100% sure I like this way of constructing things, but it does do the job. And now I can move that debug text bit. So where do I want to put that? I want to put that in... I want all agents to update their goal, even and especially the temp fake agents. Okay, so you, for now, we'll say you are processing. I think that works. And do you have an entity data? You must. You do. Perfect. Okay. Okay, that's all good. And then, actually, if we move this up to here, we won't even have to, yeah, we won't have to worry about it. It'll always get set. We do want to do this, though. Yeah, see, I end up reloading a lot of stuff, but that means we can get rid of that other debug text line. We don't need this anymore. And so we'll wait till it reloads again. If it does, wow, the my webcam video is really choppy. That's weird. Uh-oh. No such property entity for class. Okay, sure. 2279. Yeah, that would be true. It's not a bad idea to have this. And we definitely know it at the time of creation. In fact, as a rule, I find it's not a bad idea to, especially things that are managed this way, to give them the key that's going to be in the hash map that they're in, just so that you're guaranteed that they can always re-add themselves to the index if they need to. Okay. Yeah, we're really slowing down now. So what I'm going to do... Alright, we'll get one more activation out, and then I'm going to kill this. Okay, so that's all good. Let's add a debug to the thing. Boink. Okay, so we've got update goal, work, walk to chores. I feel like we should have had some more. Anyway, let's yeah, so here's a bunch more. Well, anyway, what we're really concerned about is that these get updated correctly. So let me move this guy back out so that everybody's sort of passive, and then we can verify that everybody has a correct... Yeah, he's going between. Okay, so everybody... See, as I hover over them in the right table there, I can find them on the map because it highlights their name in yellow. Eldredadi cleaver spell. I don't want to know what a cleaver spell would be. Uinwito. Hern Rog is heading over to the gardens over there. Husnia Deco. There's someone has a and this Coleus Newwate. Newwate, which I find an interesting construct because the way my generator generates names, that means that somebody's real name had an EWWA in it, which I can kind of see, but then that also means that they had a WWAT in it. So WW apparently is a relatively common thing, and common enough that there was a couple different constructs. I haven't actually looked through my name database to figure out. Yeah, so Mart Black Meadow. Yeah, some of these cool names. Ooh. First name Neh. Last name Bear Storm. I like it. Or a Bridge Hen. Yeah, the names have definitely gotten better. Riga Cave, Romy Brietta, Ramosita Edmond. I'm probably butchering their names. I hope they don't get offended. Psychegini Elville. Not evil, but Elville. I like it. Shira Slygatellan. Slygatellan. Yeah, I don't know. Cool. Everybody's where they're supposed to be. So that's all still working. So that means we can clean up a bunch of other stuff. So without this, it means we don't need entity data technically don't need the entity ID. Sometimes I do this trick where, especially when I've got like a giant file like this, I'll cut and paste it over into something else so that I can search for just the, of course, ED is going to appear a lot anyway. Let's look for ed dot. There we go. Only see a few of those. Yep, so ed is not used. So we can get rid of that. Any of these sorts of dependencies you can remove is almost never a bad thing. Okay, so no more EDs. And I don't think we need entity either. But let's check. So they're only past the constructor. Oh, when we set the level, that's right, we self-identify. If we replace that with a cache, because that's really inefficient anyway. It's not even clear that it's a good idea to have this here. So we have it in a debug. It's not awful. Alright, well, I suppose we can leave it for now, but I do need to think about that, this guy, set level. But I need to fix these constructors. Because where they're used, they're going to still be passing in this, which they don't need to be anymore. Okay, so everything should still work as normal. Chat's really quiet today. You all just listening to me while you do your own work? Yeah, so I'm just going to kill it because it's right. It's taking too much memory. Oh, I wanted to show you guys sort of what my near-term goals are for this. Other than, you know, the actual AI part. Okay, so everybody's doing their thing. And if we do this, we get one person who's sleeping until 5:47. Who is sleeping until 5:47? That would be Hernrog. That's the different one though, because over here it's somebody else. So there's another 5:47. What I need to be able to do is sort on columns. So Hernrog is over there in his house. Oh, that's not good. I don't see any other 5:47. Alright, let me see who this is. Oh, this is Hernrog. Doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I have to reset once before they have their close. Okay, so Hernrog is in the... Oh, Hernrog is wherever I last looked, essentially, because he's no longer managed, like if I go here. Yeah, so his position isn't getting updated. That's a problem. It's not related to... That's not right, because he still should have had his old position. Not the position of some other thing. So like, okay, so let's see if we do this and we're very careful. And then we come very carefully back. Okay, so it does know he's there, but as soon as I look at somebody else, and now it's going to show him up there. And that's not right. So something in the UI code is screwing up, and I'm going to fix that because that's going to be really confusing. Alright, so then the agent status code, why? Select status, set selected status this. Oh. Because when we update the position, we don't have a position anymore? That's not right either. Okay, we'll let it reload. Shouldn't be so slow. Activate. Add player. Boink, boink. Boink. Okay, so Hern Rog. Yeah, so that's not what's happening. It's definitely something to do with this initialization, because when we get entity release, we don't remove ourselves. Yeah, we never... Yeah, Agent status has no toString, and so we want to probably do this. Status name text. Okay, reload. Okay, activate town. Everybody's still asleep. Add a player. Move this down. So we gotta do this while that guy's still in the same place. Hern Rog. Okay, so we are setting a status. It's just leaving the same old location. Yeah, we're watching his spawn position. But the spawn position will never update. That's what it is. So we need to update position whenever the target changes, just in case. And then it will at least use the last. So it was like kind of relying on the fact that position gets updated all the time, and so when position was not updated all the time, it broke. And so now, yeah, so now Hern Rog should be in the right place. He should be wherever he was left. So no matter where we go and we look at Hern Rog, he's back where he's supposed to be. But he's high, so we don't get position updates for him. He's walking to his chores. Probably at some point he's going to go low again as he walks to his chores if we wait for a second. Hopefully. Oh no, because nothing's going to move him. That's right, until he's... Yeah, so if we move out again and back, Hern Rog's probably on. Yeah, he's walked on. But because nothing was moving him while he was in high, because there's no brain, there's no real AI. Okay, so that's all working like it's supposed to. It's just it's just annoying. We can get rid of this stuff. I'll go ahead and let it reload. Come over here. Yeah, so active schedule's good. Yeah, so my short-term goals, near-term goals for as far as town schedules go are, yeah, I want to have a guard job that walks a path. I want to have dogs that follow people for part of the day, because currently there's no NPC that follows another NPC, and that's an interesting thing to try to schedule in the way we've been scheduling things, because it can't just say walk waypoints, it's got to be wherever that other NPC is, so there's a dependency there. Like, if it's the guard and the guard has the path to walk and the dog is supposed to follow the guard, then the dog doesn't have any sort of specific location to be at any given time. Like, I can't tell you where the dog is at noon without knowing where the guard is at noon. And so I think the lag will be okay if they're done in either order. But it is weird to have sort of a mob-to-mob dependency. Yeah, the webcam just keeps... I wonder if I'm having streaming issues or whatever, but the webcam keeps freezing when in my view over here. So that's a tricky thing to do, I need to do that to verify that I can do that, because there definitely will 100% be town level schedules where one thing follows another, right? Job and mob matching, I think I've sort of done. Different schedules every day, but not really the way I mean. Still need to have long calendar schedules. So like every day is different, but I need to be able to select different templates per day, so that maybe on like weekends NPCs have different schedules. Building that constructs itself, yes, again, because that's from a far terrain's perspective. I need to make sure that the building is constructed, and that when we're close we get to see the NPCs do the work. Okay, cool. So maybe it's just the webcam that's lame. Alright, newly constructed buildings become a part of schedules going forward. See, that's the other thing, is once the library becomes constructed, the town needs to know that it can add that to the list of things. That's why these are all important as far as town things. So the airship turns out to be a whole ball of wax. So the idea being that you might have an airship with a crew, and they're managed as sort of a mobile settlement, which makes it interesting from a visibility perspective. So they're not like where settlements pop in. I wonder if I could deal with settlements the same way as I deal with large objects, though. That would be interesting. Maybe this solution solves the other problem. Anyway, but then the other thing is, like, normal towns are only managed when you can see them, but an airship needs to be managed always, at least from its position perspective, because it still needs to be moving through the world even when you can't see it. Otherwise, how do you know when it's in view and it needs to suddenly position things? Now, its crew could be totally idle during that time, but the other thing is, like, I realized I don't have a way for NPCs to ride on anything. So, like, even if I had rideable objects, like rideable, horses or whatever, there's no way for an NPC to ride on it. There's no relationship that puts them, not in a walk around on a boat kind of way or walk around on an airship kind of way. Like, there are, like, I could model riding as an attachment, like the NPC could be an attachment on the horse, like our backpacks are an attachment on our back, or our swords are an attachment on our hands. But for as walking around a boat or an airship goes, that doesn't really work. So there needs to be some kind of... This turns out to be something I'll have to do later. There's no way I can get it done now. And then I want to have some... Yeah, I want to do like a musician job, because, like, I need to figure out, like, what does a bard who lives in the town, what's his daily schedule? Does he pick a different tavern every day? What does he do during the non-rush times, that kind of thing? So I find that one interesting just from that perspective. There's like all these little black things. Oh, I bet it's the some of my headphones. The little black padding comes out of the inside. So these are my sort of near-term goals as far as town organization. They have nothing to do with kind of what we're working on tonight, but this is like I'm trying to make sure as I restructure things that I can still do all these things. All right, so so we're trying to organize the brains. The way we have it now, right now, this is where we would call the brain, but we've got no way of determining the current status. I tell you what, I'm my eyeballs are floating here, so I'm gonna real quickly. So my headset is crumbling as well. Yeah, it's annoying. The padding, yeah, I don't think it's this one, but one of them. I know my my original MetaQuest 2, my Oculus Quest 2 is definitely doing it. And that's like I don't even think that's black. I think that's like a gray. But yeah, I hate that. So anyway, I'm gonna real quickly step away and go to the bathroom because I'll be right back. 1 second. All right, I feel so much better. All right, so one of the things we should probably talk about is like there's like what we're kind of been working on is the middleware layer, right? There's the sort of the action scheduling part, right? And then on top of that, you know, town management, and below that is the brain, right? So we've been like sticking in this layer here, and I kind of like I need to think about this in order to make sure this layer is robust enough to handle all the things I want to do. And so like I've hard coded a bunch of town management stuff that then feeds this schedule, and that's why we have NPCs that do things throughout the day. And then we've just basically been starting to get into, you know, the real high LOD AI. And so right now we're thinking about what does this interface look like? Calling, you know, from the action scheduling, you know, the town level action scheduling. What does this interface look like? And so that's kind of what we're playing with. And so that is right here, this temp fake agent. This is what we're calling by those actions to let them know, like when the AI, when that particular NPC, the craftsman or whatever, is autonomous, like he's got an actual quote unquote brain, you know, the town needs to let him know, hey, whatever you're doing, this is what I'd like you to be doing, so that so if the player's not interacting with that NPC, it can go about its business, right? So that's what this guy is right here. He's our interface. And so we need to think, what do we need to provide the brain so it can do what it needs to do? And I don't think this is enough here. Right, we've got no time information. And originally I thought, well, we'll just call update goal all the time. But update goal isn't good enough without knowing how far I should be through that goal. And then my goals are a little too granular in some ways and too coarse grained in others. Like, well, right now, like if we look at a particular NPC's schedule, we've got these sequences which are actually the waypoint walking. It's probably we need a specific action for walking a waypoint, and that way the goal can be not just all the individual points along the way, but from the brain's perspective, we can say, hey, by the way, we're supposed to walk this path. So the goal is the path, and there's not like 10 goals, all the little steps along the way. There's just one goal, which is to walk that path, and then the NPC actual brain can decide, maybe I don't want to walk it the same way because I have better pathfinding than the town does because I'm not using a waypoint graph, I'm using the actual terrain, stuff like that. Because when the player's in the way, when the player's looking, we've got like all these guys that tend to like walk right on top of each other. That wouldn't really happen. They would walk around each other. There'd be animations and so on and so forth. And like, or you see like these guys. This would never happen, right? And they might like end up on top of each other. Yeah. So the brain level interface. What does the town need to provide these guys so we know where to go? Really, I need to add a pause button here. That'd be tremendously helpful. So I don't think this update goal on its own is good enough without a periodic check-in. We could call update goal more often for high level of detail agents, but we would want to tell it where we are in the tween of things. I think we can do that. I think so active schedule is actually the exact right place to do it. So if we wanted to call update goal more often with more information, we could do it here. In fact, that's what we originally did, right? Maybe, I'm trying to think what the brain's going to want to do with this information. Should we just tell it, hey, here's your goal, hey, here's your goal, hey, here's your goal? And if the goal has changed, yeah, I think that's what it is. The brain itself would decide if it's a new goal or not. So we don't have to keep track of that. So we technically could move this part back down here. I almost want to have two different methods though. So this is the one when you've got a new goal. So let's change update goal to goal changed. Right? So goal changed. Okay. Yeah, I like this idea. Okay, let's activate everybody again. Let's look around, see where everybody is. Oh, it's bedtime, isn't it? Yeah, almost everybody's asleep. Yeah, I love that reset camera button. Okay, so then we have that, and then we can add another method for check goal progress. I'm gonna not worry too much about the names at the moment. Progress. And so we'll pass the goal, because why not? And we'll pass how far? We'll go ahead and pass the tween because we have it. And so then if we look at active schedule again, this is where we'd want to call that. But not every time. I think not every time. Maybe once a minute. Let's see. Does world time provide me a world minute? Get total game minutes. Now, is it game minutes as in this thing that's ticking here, or is it game minutes, nanos per game minute? I'm going to say that it is those game minutes, in which case once a let's say so if we're already here, I'm trying to like limit the amount of bookkeeping I'm keeping in every one of these. But it's just the most convenient place to do this. Double game minute equals world time dot get total game minutes. If actually we want to say and actually yeah, just in case, I don't think you'd ever run out of minutes, but okay, so then if we've got we want to say, instead of this, we want to say, what was the other method it was check goal progress. And we want the goal and the tween. So check goal progress. Oh yes, status, goal, status equals agent check goal progress. We don't want to run action at all if we're... Okay, I'll deal with that in a second. Yeah, okay, I got this. So we want to pass in this and the tween. And then we could do something with the status. That's kind of why I think this needs to be a separate method, except for only we know what level we are at. So here we can say, oh, we don't have to deal with nulls. We'll never be here if there's a null. And so we can say if level is equal to agent level high, level high. And we'll still calculate the tween, but only if the game minute is new. So when you're ever in decision paralysis, it's a good idea just to do something that you know is right, or more right than what you've got. I don't think this is what I'm going to end up with in the end, but it's closer to where I'm going. Right, so if the agent level is high, we're not even going to bother to call the action run action. We're going to call this goal check progress. We have the status, we could do something with it, but here's where I'm stuck. I have no way to do anything with this status. And so somehow this architecture is wrong, right? Because the brain can't tell us to figure something out. So the idea here would be, let's say the guard is making his rounds. He's supposed to walk, the perimeter, this perimeter street here, maybe he's supposed to walk here. And so he's got a schedule he's supposed to keep to. He's supposed to be around. But then you talk to him, or there's a fight that breaks out and he has to deal with the fight, and this lasts several, maybe a game hour or two. And we're constantly telling him, hey, the town itself is saying, hey, dude, you need to walk your route, walk your route, walk your route. But then by the time the brain says, okay, no, I'm not busy anymore, but you know what, there's no way I can meet your goal that says I'm supposed to be halfway across the town at this point, so what should I do? And at that point the town needs to decide a new schedule for him based on his current position. And we've got no way to provide that feedback, which is a clear indicator that down here in the actual scheduler for a particular mob is not where we need to be doing this check, which is back to what I was saying, is that you almost want a separate method to call. And actually I'm not opposed to putting that in here for now, because it does clean this code up considerably. So return check goal progress. We're gonna just sched goal. Oh, we don't have to. Yeah, we're gonna want to calculate the tween here too. Yeah, that's the issue, right? No, we'll do it in. We'll do. We can actually can't meet their schedule. Exile, right? Well, I mean, they could be doing a really good job. They just got distracted. World time TOD. So we'll change this. We'll pick this up here, and then goal status. Check goal progress. So if we get something on the outside that can call us directly, for now we're calling it every game minute, and I gotta still see how often that is. But now it could be called externally, so we're starting to figure out what we want to do with this. Alright, so that's going to get called, and I don't think I've implemented check goal progress anywhere, so that's going to be a problem. Or yeah, this check goal progress. So all those managed agents are going to fail. Passive managed agent, so he needs one. And it's going to be the same thing. When they're passive, they're not going to do anything with this information except for return. Yeah, I'm working on it, boss. Let me add overrides here, just to save myself some pain later if I change the method signature. And so now we want to look for managed agent and find our other implementations. Itchy nose. I think when spring comes around, I'm going to open up all the windows in the house and just blow everything out. Okay. All right, so here is one of them. And so this needs its similar processing to. Just going to steal this for now, but we're going to change the names to protect the innocent. Goal tween. Goal tween. Now technically I shouldn't have had to pass the goal to check goal progress. It's just convenient that the methods are probably, those methods are probably going to be simpler to write in some cases if we don't have to worry about what the existing goal was. Though, you know, we are changing it here. In fact, let's don't do that. This is actually this is pointing out a problem, though. So I've done that, but we've created a potential state problem. If goal change is never called, we could call it here. So if not objects equals goal current goal, then goal changed. And otherwise, that way we're always sure that the state is, in case we get called with a check goal progress, like sched change and we didn't really get our, anyway. Okay, so check goal progress, we return. Okay. And then we need one more of these down here where we can see how often we're being called. Just to see if we're hooked up correctly. Check goal progress, tween. All right. So it's going to reload. We activate, and everybody deactivate quick. People are unhappy. All right. No such property agent level. Or agent crap. So that is line 2269. No, it's not. $17.99. Yeah, it's agent type. Okay. All right, activate them. Everybody's doing their thing. Jolin, probably Yolan. Gisantine. Yeah, that's not a bad name. Okay, so let's add a thing and move it over here. And then we should get, oh boy. Okay, so what was the error? We got no such property sched for active schedule. Oh, 1786. Just 1786. Yeah, because we don't have that here. We didn't grab it. We keep a track of the last sched, right? Or only the last time? No. Current is a sched. Yeah, let's just use current then. Sched equals current. Alright. Activate. Activate. Add player. Move the player into position. Ah, crap. No such property game minutes. Game minute. On 1806. Sounds like a year. Okay. So from one. Game minute is defined right there. What are you talking about? What am I missing? No such property game minute. 1793. Oh, okay, I know what it is. This needs to be in here. Let's try again. I feel bad. We're like chipping up on maybe where I wanted to be when we started. Uh-oh. Everything paused for a second. Oh, boy. Yeah. We're running out of memory again. Okay. Yeah, everybody's activated. Alright, add a player. Let's move. Yep, so we've got one player. Yeah, cool. See, check in the goal once a second. So that's alright. We could do it less often too if we wanted to. Which is probably a good idea. But this is alright. Because, see, that's going to get really busy. And so it's going to tell the AI, you know, every second. Which is going to be like a lot of these. If we're in the middle of the town looking at everybody. Yeah, everybody stops moving. We could add back temporarily moving for these passive guys. Like, where do we create the temp fake agent? Yeah, so technically we could right, so anyway, this is where we would call the brain, and we're getting stuff now. And we're like 7 minutes left on my 2 hours. It's like nobody's moving where they're supposed to be right now because they're wherever they were left before. And so if we come back, right. That's interesting. So if we move them in here, yeah. If they go to active mode real quick. So now we're getting like all these, everybody's goals updating every second. I was trying to think of a quick way to put the movement back. If I gave this just temporarily set active agent, if active not equal null, active dot passive agent equals passive. We wouldn't really do this normally, but this lets me this will let them move even when they're active, until we get the brain hooked up. So that'd be the next step. And maybe that's a good place to stop. I can keep working on the scheduling stuff, and then we'll be right set up to deal with what AI needs to do at the quote-unquote ground level. Okay. Come on. Well, get me one more reload before the live stream's over, okay? Come on. Come on. Don't make me start over. There we go. And so now if we add a player, we bring them in. Oh, no, it's not working. Oh, that's right. We're not even getting warp called. That's a interesting point. That's, yeah. So warp isn't even getting called. So I can't do this. I have to have the brain move the player. I'd have to manually tween the goal. Yeah. I will get this considerably farther along before next weekend. I'm going to try to... Yeah, I'm going to try to work out this connection to the brain and what these goals actually have to contain. I don't think you guys are going to be interested in that for the live stream and would be more interested in seeing them walk around and stuff. But if not, you know, you could ask, you could mention on the Discord what you're interested in seeing. We might be able to add another job real quick. Let me think. I kind of wanted to see how to add another job. See, already gardening is a chore that some people pick up. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 gardens. So we could assign 6 gardeners. That it's like their dedicated job. I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. I've got plenty of jobs to test the system with until I get to guards, which actually will have a waypoint. And then there's going to be something to figure out from the... So back to this picture, we're talking about this part, which is not really where I'm trying to go in the short to near term. But from a town management perspective, I need NPCs that walk paths, but I also need NPCs that pick up like whatever odd jobs the town has. So, and maybe these are the same people that just have daily chores, and the town may have, like if the town is constructing a library, there are going to be certain people that have the trait that they can do construction, and so then they'll haul materials and build the library, and once the library's done, they go back to their normal stuff. But there'll be just some people in the town whose job it is to pick up those odd jobs. And that is something I need to work out from a town scheduling perspective, because there's going to be lots of that kind of stuff to do. And a town sometimes would have a dedicated person or persons to do that. I have to figure out how buildings get maintained and stuff like that. But this is... What I want to get to is dungeons that can manage themselves. And so town is just a proxy for that. It's an easy way to watch it. And dungeons have like a simpler sort of day-to-day schedule. And the nice thing about dungeons is that the player definitely screws them up over time, and that's fine because they don't need to constantly exist. But there is sort of an evolution of a dungeon and a sort of equilibrium that it tries to, just like a town. If a dungeon's well constructed, in my opinion, it has a logic to it. And so that's where I'm trying to get. Towns are an easy way to do that. And of course, towns make the whole game feel alive, and they get me a sort of a foundation on thinking about the next steps, like what is NPC knowledge? This guy in this building, what does he know about the town and the other townspeople? how does that factor into the way conversation systems work, and so on and so forth. So all these things are important, and this gets me a nice sort of, when it's integrated into the game, it gives me a nice sort of test bed for playing around with all those things, which is where the game starts to incrementally seem more and more like game, and hopefully we get to the point where features sort of snowball, and I can real quickly add some simple things that then compound with others and seem more complicated. Anyway, this is where I'm going to end it. I would like to have more people in the town, just because I think it would make a more interesting simulation. Obviously, some of these houses could easily house more than one person, so when real town generation comes, it'll get to families and things like that. But today this is good. It gets me the tests I need. I've got 30 NPCs, which are pretty good for testing. I find all kinds of problems. But anyway, that's where I think I'm going to end it today. Thanks for watching. I hope if you guys are working on creative things, you have a really productive week. I hope that your transition back from vacation is easier than mine. Also, if you haven't joined the Discord, you can download the game and get the link. You don't even have to really play the game, just run it once it's in the startup. Other than that, I'm going to go ahead and start saying my goodbyes. There we go. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe. YouTube does like the subscribers, and it does matter. And I've been getting like 1 subscriber a week lately, so I'm getting really close to 1,000. This was the 176th live stream apparently, so that's all good. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time. I don't know if it'll be Friday or Saturday. We'll figure it out. I'll see you guys then. Thanks.